Sometimes in life, we've tried everything to change. We've tried every technique, we've tried every approach we can think of, and nothing's working. How do we change then? That's been the case for some of my coaching clients and my hypnosis clients. They come in and they've really have tried a lot of different things. Now, nobody's tried everything because there's an infinite list of possible techniques to try. But sometimes it feels like we've tried for so long to change something and we're still stuck and we can't get out of whatever we're feeling or whatever we're experiencing, whatever we're believing, what's going on. Well, recently I've had some insight into that and I've been testing this with clients and it's been working pretty well. The solution might actually be simpler than you think. So here's what I believe is going on. When we're in an unresourceful state, when we're in the problem, it's like we're already in a trance. So, as a hypnotist myself, my job is not to put you in a trance, it's to actually get you out of that trance. And this happens to me too. This happens to every one of us, I think. When we are stuck, it's like we're already in a trance. And so the goal is not necessarily to try to shift immediately into what we want, into a resourceful state, into the solution. In fact, when I try to do that with my clients who have been stuck for a really long time, oftentimes that's what's not working. Right? That's what we have been trying. Because from within the unresourceful trance state, from within the unresourceful problem state, there are no resources. The resources are deleted. Now, it doesn't mean you don't have a resource. It doesn't mean you don't have the ability to solve the problem or memories of figuring things out or the ability to think about a possible future. It's just that you can't access it from within that state. So the first thing we need to do is to be able to step out of the problem state. So how do we do that? Well, first, usually what happens in my own sessions is I'm talking with a client. And of course, people come into a coaching session, they want to talk about the problem. They want to say, this is my problem. Let me lay it out for you. And they go through all the things that happened in the past and all the feelings and all this and that. And as someone talks like that, of course, they start to feel worse and worse, right? Get absorbed into the problem. That's a trance state. It's like a narrowing of attention focused on the problem in this case. And so 5, 10, 15 minutes in of talking about something like that, my client, this can happen to anybody. It can happen to me talking about my problems. You get absorbed into the problem. Now you've dug the hole and you're in it. So trying to solve the problem from the bottom of a hole that you just dug for yourself is not going to help. So usually what I think is helpful from this place is to then check in and say, hey, do I want to stay here? Is this where you want to stay? Do you want to keep this problem exactly as it is? Or would you like to explore the possibility of something else, something different? And really checking in. It's okay if you want to keep it that way. So getting into a sense of choice around it, right? Now, you might not know what the solution is yet, but now imagine there's a you that's outside the problem looking in. Like really just use your imagination and visualize or picture or pretend there's a you over there at some distance away who is looking at you over here with the problem. And this is an observer you. So it's neutral, a very neutral you, non-judgmental you. And importantly, that you over there who's just watching you have this problem is outside of the problem, but doesn't necessarily know what the solution is yet. Okay. So can you imagine a you that's outside the problem looking in that doesn't necessarily know what the problem is yet and is very non-judgmental? So far, when I tested this with clients who've been very stuck in a problem for many years, so far they've all been able to say, yes, I can imagine that. Now, I'm not saying everybody would be able to do that, but so far I've tested that and everyone's been able to say, sure, I can do that. The next step, can you imagine switching places with that you? So imagine stepping out of the problem and stepping into this sort of neutral observer that's non-judgmental, that you can see yourself over there having the problem. So you can see you're over there with the body posture you have when you have the problem over there, the breathing. If you have certain thoughts that can spill out of your mouth over there and you can hear them over here as the neutral observer, and so on. Can you do that? so far, everybody I've tested that with has been able to do that too. So now, what does that do? This gives you some perspective, and it implies that you can actually get out of the problem. You can get out of the trance, that narrowing of attention on the problem. A very simple perceptual shift to this observer implies you can get unstuck. From this observer, now you can do lots of different things. You can imagine somebody else who could solve this problem. That could be someone you know, could be a movie character, could be a future you who's already figured this out. And if you can imagine that, then you can imagine stepping into and becoming that future you or that other person or so on, to feel what it feels like to be in a resourceful state, to have solutions, to have different beliefs and thoughts that could allow you to solve the problem. Or you could do a host of other things to get resources to bring into this original problem state. And then you can actually bring them in and step back in, and it will transform. I'm not going to get into all the details of that. The point being, if you're trying to solve the problem from within the problem, that often isn't going to work, because if that unresourceful state is strong enough, it just sort of deletes all of your resources. They're not there, not available to you. You can't feel them. They don't seem real. And so the first step is really to get out of that, get a little bit of distance, to become a neutral observer of that trance, of that belief system, of that reality tunnel, as Robert Anton Wilson used to call it, so that you can get a little distance. And from that neutral observer perspective, then you can come up with possibilities. It's more possible to see what you could do from there. So anyway, hope that's helpful. Thanks for listening. If you want coaching or hypnosis, you can go to boulderhypnosisworks.com. And my name's Duff. Have a great day.